in inflating assets on financial statements. I'm joined now by Jennifer Rogers. She's a former federal prosecutor and a CNN legal analyst. Good to see you, Jennifer. So how important will Trump's testimony be in this case?
That's hard to say, Fred. I mean, the judge already has decided on summary judgment that the statements were fraudulent. So the question really is, how much of that can he attribute to Donald Trump? How much can he attribute to the sons and the other defendants here? How much should he disgorge? How much should he order in terms of damages? And then finally, and this is where the testimony might be the most important, does he actually bar Donald Trump from doing business in the state of New York? That's what the AG's office is seeking. And I think what happens tomorrow on the stand may be a big hint how that goes as to whether the judge will try to order that or not.
So singularly, the judge will make that decision in terms of what kind of fine to impose, or if indeed Trump and the Trump organization is barred from ever doing business in New York?
That's right. So the judge will order how much disgorgement there will be. He will apportion it among the different defendants in the case. There are many defendants in the case. And then he'll decide whether to bar anyone, and if so, whom to bar from doing business in the state of New York. Of course, all of that will be subject to appeal. We already have an appeal on the summary judgment order and the dissolution or the pulling back of the business certificates that the judge ordered there. So all of this is subject to review on appeal. But in the first instance, it will be the decision of the judge who's been overseeing the case.
Is it your opinion that Eric and Don Jr.'s testimonies were damaging, or no?
Well, they were damaging. They could have been worse, of course. They could have admitted, sure, I knew about the wrong valuations, the fraudulent valuations, and purposely signed the certificates anyway. They, of course, didn't admit that. But playing dumb and saying that, you know, they didn't really know much of anything and it was all about the accountants is not a good defense in any case. So I think that while they were a bit boxed in by the documents, there wasn't really a lot of things they could have said to get out of being responsible for it. I don't think what they did on the stand would have helped. And frankly, at times, it seems like they were a bit smug, which I think probably didn't help their cause with the judge either.
Well, don't we expect that the former president might handle things in the same manner?
Well, interestingly, I think this could really be some fireworks tomorrow, Fred. I mean, Donald Trump is famously undisciplined as a speaker. He is furious about this case. He's been talking, of course, at length about how the judge is out to get him and the AG is out to get him. So the question is, I don't know that he'll just be smug. I mean, he may explode tomorrow. And that, I think, will, of course, damage his case with the judge. But also, you know, we'll see what the public thinks about that. A big part of the Donald Trump's reactions, I think, is really geared more toward the public than to the case anyway. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
Would his attorneys not want him to take the stand? And the issue is, you know, the former president kind of insists. I mean, just as he has insisted on being there every day when he really hasn't had to be.
Well, actually, the Attorney General is calling him as part of her affirmative case. So he doesn't have a choice here. He's a material witness, and this is a civil case, not a criminal case. So he does have to take the stand. I do think his attorneys would want to keep him off the stand, generally speaking, because he is undisciplined. There's a lot of cross-examination material that can be used against him. I think in his criminal cases, all of his lawyers will do their best to keep him off the stand. But here, they don't really have the choice. So one question is, if it goes poorly on direct tomorrow with the Attorney General's staff questioning him, will his lawyers cross-examine him, quote unquote, cross-examine him to try to rehabilitate him in the eyes of the judge?
Oh, boy. Most likely there will be some fireworks this week, starting tomorrow.